Got a couple love letters here to start things off. We have Dr. Patel from GraniteAllergy.com in studio with us. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning.
We've got a Melissa here who wrote in to say, Dr. Patel figured out I am allergic to sunscreen.
Oh.
My face was peeling and scarring for multiple years, and finding out the sunscreen allergy was huge. Well, so what's the diagnosis there? Go get skin cancer? What do you do without sunscreen?
Different sunscreen.
So you figure out what's in the sunscreen that makes her react that way?
Exactly, yeah. There's lots of chemicals in different sunscreens. Some have more, some have less. You know, the blocking ones are always better. But, yeah, the chemical, that's actually... It's actually kind of unique. There's some kinds that are photosensitive or photoallergic. So the sunscreen is fine, the sun is fine, but then the sunscreen plus the sun, it like changes the chemicals, and then you become allergic to it.
I don't even think that's anything anyone would think.
No.
They had. Like, I hadn't even heard of that.
You're probably thinking, what's wrong with this sunscreen I'm using? Because the sun is destroying my face, and I'm peeling and I'm scarring.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
it's the actual
exactly.
sunscreen.
You're like, put more on.
She could always wear an actual sunscreen, like screen doors, all wrapped around her in an outfit.
That'll work, too.
That'll work.
Now, we also got this story from Alicia.
Hi, Alicia.
She says, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to Dr. Patel and the wonderful staff in his office. About a month ago, I did the testing to determine what I'm allergic to, which turned out to be a lot of crap.
Oh, God.
Dr. Patel and his team have been treating me with immunotherapy for the last 2 weeks. I'm super excited to get this process over with and hopefully resolve a lot of my allergy issues. And yes, doctor, I am following my medication instructions to a T. And I would just like to say, F you trees. So apparently she's not a friend of the trees.
Apparently not.
So she says you're treating her with immunotherapy. What does that look like for people who are like, what the hell does that look like?
So that's pretty much allergy shots, like, you know, a fancy term for allergy shots, right? You inject the people with the same stuff they're allergic to, build up their immunity, and then it pretty much goes away.
Oh, that's exciting.
Now, we like the immunotherapy word because it sounds so... Because you are an immunologist, correct?
Correct.
So this is interesting. Yesterday, we were talking on the air about tonsils because it was revealed I am the only non-tonsil person here. The rest of my staff, these are all tonsil people.
Hi. Go tonsils.
And so we had fun with the idea of how, because it came up in the context of you're in a relationship with someone for years and then you find out they do or don't have tonsils, because why would that come up? And we got some emails yesterday after the show, and so I started doing some research, and I had no idea that, and I had mine out as a kid because they were swelling, I had allergies and breathing problems, but I come across this line that the tonsils help fight against infection and play a role in immunity. And
Correct.
I'm like, does Patel have something to do with tonsils too? I mean, it's like everything has to do with immunology.
Oh, are you in bed with big
no
tonsil?
bias here. Oh, sorry. No bias here, but everything is immunology, right? It's the most important part.
So am I more likely to get sick because I don't have my tonsils?
No, it's kind of like, so back in the day, they used to take out everyone's tonsils, right? And then it swung the other way, and then they like took out no one's tonsils. And then people had these horrible, nasty black things in the back of their throat, and it's horrible. Now they use this thing called the Pittsburgh criteria. So if you have 7 infections in a year, or you get 5 infections a year for 2 years, or you get 3 infections a year for 3 years, then they'll take them out. And it affects a little bit of the immunity, but you have so many other lymph organs around there that'll make up for it.
And there's no reason to take them out other than that, right? The tonsils serve a positive thing.
Correct.
In fact, I laughed about that when I saw it yesterday. I said, really? They fight off immunity. I'm the guy who never gets sick.
I can't with you.
Right?
God,
You had the same thought, right?
Yes.
For all my life, I've been the guy. I don't get sick, or if I
God.
do, I get the least symptoms.
You're annoying.
But I don't have she gets mad over anything that's
God.
positive about my life.
These genes are so good. It's
all that is.
ridiculous.
True religion.
Yeah, they are true religion today. Very good.
She's gonna dose your drink now. You're like, why does everything taste like nutmeg? That's arsenic.
So we thought this was a great time to have you on because right in the middle of May. Is there any truth to allergy season, quote unquote? This is traditionally allergy season, right? Because of the pollen. Like this is when a lot of lay people have to suddenly take antihistamines that they don't usually. Is it getting worse? You hear people say that every year. My allergies are worse. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, well, it kind of is. So there are seasons, but everyone's seasons are different. Most people are spring. A lot of people actually are fall, right? And then, some people winter. Winter's more like molds and animals and dust mites because you're indoors more. But yeah, it does get worse. So just like you've heard about the kid or an adult who gets stung by a bee once the first time and they get some hives all over their body, not much. Second time, it becomes more severe. Same with allergy. Every time you get exposed to something, you're going to become more and more allergic to it. So, yeah, your seasons get worse.
So I think it was last weekend, just out of nowhere, I couldn't track it. I had one of those eye attacks where I just wanted to gouge my eyes out with an olive fork. And it just came out of nowhere. And I saw this article. There was an allergy specialist who was an allergist on the Today Show, who does say that pollen seasons are longer now, and that because plants live on CO2 and we have higher levels of CO2 in the atmosphere, it's increasing plant production. Does that sound right to you?
It does. There's that article actually in the Wall Street Journal. Same thing. The seasons are extending, getting longer, and all that.
And it's also, this same guy said there's a genetic component to it.
Yeah, that's like a wastebasket thing for everything. Right? It's like,
Everything's genetic.
Yeah, everything's like, genetic predisposition with environmental factors, right? So, all right.
So I'm waiting until our most recent vacay that we'll have, because is it called Rush?
Yes.
Okay. So, and that's like my first initial, and it's over a 2-day period, and it could be 8 hours, right? Or something like that. So I wanted to do it on a vacation day so I could do it and get it done in 2 days, as opposed to like stretching it out over the course of
many visits.
Exactly. And so I think about it. It's like I've never wanted time to go by faster than now. And I know it won't be fixed, but I'll feel like at least we're on our way. Because now, as you talk about the more exposure, and it is true, I've noticed like with our cats and stuff, and not so much with our dog for whatever reason. I think maybe it's dependent on dander with different breeds, maybe. But it's so bad now that I went to get my eyelashes done, and I know people can be sensitive to whatever glue it is they use, but I've never been that person. But now with the animals, and then I know I looked at my chart again, and there was a couple of different plants, and it must be their time of year, because like the eyes will not stop watering. I go get the lashes done, you pay for it, it isn't cheap, they're gone within 2 days because I'm rubbing because my eyes are just so sensitive and watery even right now. So like that's a seasonal thing,
Yeah, it all depends on which ones on there. Like right now, like Rob was saying, it's tree season, so trees will go up until about probably the next week or two. The trees are going to stop.
Away.
Yeah.
Okay, so
and then you go into grass. Yeah, then you go into grasses.
So I've also been dealing with this leaky eye problem, but it's a perpetual issue in my life. Leaky eye, leaky nose. It's always happening. And if I don't take sometimes even if I do, like today, I take an allergy pill before I do my makeup. Sometimes it works. Days like today, it does not. Is it possible that I'm allergic to my makeup? Because I use a lot of the same products, just in different ways. So it's not like there's this huge circulation of all these different components I'm putting around my eyes, but it won't happen all day long. And then I'll put makeup on and it's just running and running and running out of the left side.
It does. So like the first person who talked about the sunscreen, it's the same thing. It's like a chemical allergy. Cosmetics often become allergic, and it's not just natural only, things like that. Typically, though, the reaction you get is more of a rash. So red, itchy eyelash or eyebrows or eyelids and around there. Not watery as much unless you scratch them or itch them. Watery, itchy eyes from the inside is more environmental, like pollens or animals and things like that.
When you say cosmetics can become allergic, do you mean they could be using the same brand for a while, have no reaction, and all of a sudden they start to show reactions?
Exactly.
Because of what you're saying, where the more you're exposed to something, or your body, or does your body change, or does that not happen? People say my body changed, do they?
It does, and we don't really know why. All of a sudden, someone's like using, let's say, Clinique or anything for years, and all of a sudden now they become allergic, right? Clinique is, used to be the only one that was hypoallergenic. Now there's a whole bunch of different brands out there. But even the hypoallergenics, if there happens to be a component in there you're allergic to, then it's not for you.
Right. When they say hypoallergenic, it doesn't mean that everything that's in there you're not allergic to.
Yeah. It's hypo, right? Hypo meaning less,
right?
Well,
not non.
That would be motivating for someone to actually go through the series and do the shots and all of that, because if the alternative is wearing just the all natural stuff, as beautiful as that is, right? It does not work.
I can't. I won't.
It doesn't stay on your face. It doesn't do a damn.
It doesn't cover your beard.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be chemical ridden to actually stay on your face.
Yeah, I like my makeup to be Sherwin-Williams.
Well, unfortunately, I hate to burst the bubble there is when it's cosmetic allergy, chemical allergies, you have to avoid. Yeah, you can't fix those. You can't fix those.
No.
Yeah, but
that's
if it's
bad.
one chemical, like, cosmetic could have like 20, and you could be allergic to one. So you can find another brand that just doesn't have that one.
Phone number's 888-989-9811. We're with Dr. Patel from GraniteBayAllergy.com. Hello, Chris.
Good morning, guys. How's it going today?
Morning.
Dr. Patel, I just wanted to say you've absolutely changed my life. I'm that beer allergy guy that we hung out about a year ago. I was mowing the lawn that day and basically crying with allergies.
Oh.
And I wanted to drink big beers again. We did the test of the 65 things that you tested me for. All but 9 I'm allergic to.
Jeez.
So basically, California, I'm allergic to it. I had to do, Dawn, you said 2 rushes. I had to do 5 of them, which was very fun. Let's just leave it at that. And anyway, in the end now, I am a year into it. I just played tennis in the wind for 4 hours 2 days ago, and I have had no symptoms whatsoever. Dr. Patel, thank you so much for this.
And now you can be a raging alcoholic if you want. Cheers.
My husband has improved so much. It's crazy because there are things I used to spray that bothered the hell out of him, and I've talked about over the course of the last couple of years, whatever. I'll do a test run to see, and he's like, no, gosh, I didn't even notice that one, which is amazing. And my husband sounds like you, sir. Like, when I look at my husband's list of things he's allergic to, I'm like, Jesus Lord. It's, it's like this page after page, and mine's like 1 page.
We got this email from Steve.
Hi, Steve.
One of the fun things whenever I have you on, Dr. Patel, is people who think they know exactly what they're allergic to, especially with food, and then we have to explain to them, well, maybe it's something that's in the food or things like that. And so we get a variety. Got a couple different examples here. Steve says, when I eat things with bread or tortillas, I feel very bloated in my upper stomach, and I get short of breath, and I have palpitations. Could it be an allergy, or am I just fat? If you're just fat, it would be associated with other foods, I would think, too, right?
Oh, my God, that's great.
Well, on that, I mean, unfortunately, allergies more, either rashes or diarrhea with rashes, things like that. Bloating, it could be like an intolerance or sensitivity, which you can't really test for. It becomes guess and check, unfortunately.
This one's from Craig.
Hi, Craig.
I'm a 41-year-old male, and for as long as I can remember, I have had issues with my mouth breaking out with canker sores whenever I consume certain foods, mainly citrus. Sometimes it's one, others it's many sores, and sometimes they're so close together they grow and eventually join into a larger sore.
That's unbearable.
As you can imagine, this negatively affects my eating and drinking habits, sleep, and sometimes interactions with my wife. Years ago, I went to my medical provider and got tested for allergies to determine if they were the cause. By the end of the visit, the provider came out and stated, "Good news, you do not have allergies. Bad news, you have acid eating at your skin." I accepted that conclusion. However, now I'm wondering if you have an alternative diagnosis.
Thing about canker sores is we don't really know how they even happen. We know with more stress you have canker sores, but we don't really know. Some people get more of them, some people get less. It's not technically an allergy. Now, if you had like an oral allergy syndrome and then you had itching in the mouth at the same time as a canker sore, maybe it makes it worse. But if it's actually a canker sore, then we don't even know, other than have less stress, right?
So this guy has to avoid all citrus?
Well, citrus is more of just acidic, right? It's just like if you had oral allergy syndrome or the acid or anything, it's just going to eat away.
So the problem is very likely stress in his life, but the citrus is going to inflame it.
Like dumping gas on a fire.
So he needs like a psychologist more than you.
Yeah.
This is from Constance.
Hi, Constance.
Says, every time I eat any kind of melon or kiwi or avocado and a few others like pineapple, my whole mouth and throat get itchy, my tongue feels slightly swollen, and it lasts for about 30 minutes to an hour, and then it goes away.
Oh.
This has been an issue my entire life, and so when I eat those things, I usually just decide if I feel like dealing with that at the moment. We've talked about pineapple before with a specific example. You said nothing you could do with that one. What about all those?
Yeah, no, so pineapple is an enzyme. The other one, like melons, that's typically oral allergy syndrome. So she probably has a lot of allergies to grasses. And grasses and melons very much cross-react. Cantaloupes the most, then watermelons like second.
So she could benefit.
She could get rid of that, yeah.
God, this world of people that have to have like, right, they have to be dairy-free or gluten-free or this or that because of an allergy. It'd probably rock their world that it's not actually that.
Right.
It's not that at all. I mean,
thing.
like, you can eat gluten-free if it makes you feel better, right? That's totally separate than having an allergy. But you know how people want to have those allergies, and it's like
all of
it's
these
probably
people
not an actual allergy.
Walking around who are depriving themselves of food that they don't have to because they've either self or misdiagnosed it.
Yeah, my uncle actually went and saw Dr. Patel. His name's Jared. He went and saw you. He had an allergy to eggs, he thought, for the longest time. And his old care provider, who he has his insurance through, wouldn't send him to a proper immunologist, and they just gave him another diagnosis with another doctor. And basically, he was carrying around an EpiPen thinking he was allergic to eggs. Turns out he goes sees Dr. Patel, and it's fixed, and he's eating normal again.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
We got this one from Christopher. Says, I have a question for the doctor about my wife's allergy to chicken. She has had this allergy for a long time. If she touches chicken, she gets a very bad rash on her hands. If we go out to dinner and there is cross-contamination with chicken, she breaks out in really bad hives all over her body. My question is there anything you can do for her allergy, or is this something she needs to live without?
So highly unlikely she has a chicken allergy. So there's something else there. Chicken allergy is very, very uncommon. So
She might need to see the same psychologist as the other person.
no, so yeah, for this one you can probably test and figure out that she's either is or is not, but I'd probably say she's not allergic. It's like,
But is this one of those cases where she's allergic to something else that's related? But I mean, what could be related to chickens that are getting to the point where when you eat it? Or is this not related?
No, a lot of times what happens is people have like either chronic hives or chronic urticaria, and then they start associating that with certain foods, and then so then your mind says, oh, every time I eat chicken I break out in hives, and then the stress hormones make you break out in hives. So there are other times you have stress, you break out in hives, but you ignore it, and then you associate just with chicken, and then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're like, oh, I'm going to get stressed out, and then you eat a chicken, and you're like, oh, I'm going to break out in hives.
Yeah, I don't really know what could be related to chicken. Maybe roosters, and I know the farmer's more like a surrogate father, right?
The mind thing, it's real. It is so powerful. Dr. Patel and I talked about that. I mean, I really thought it was gluten, but I just happen to eat gluten when I'm around the horse or the pig or whatever it was, right? Yep. And so even if I wasn't around them or not thinking I am, if I ate it, it's like my mind, and I'd get a rash. The minute I got tested and was able to be told you have 0 food allergies, gone.
No reaction.
Sprouted bread, 0 reaction. I could be around a cat or whatever. It's like not from that, right? I mean, it's from a cat, not the bread.
This email is from Brandy. Says, I was wondering if Dr. Patel would know what kind of cross-reaction and allergy to caffeine would be. My brother-in-law developed a life-threatening caffeine allergy. As an adult, he can't even have chocolate.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, so that's probably not true either. So there's probably some kind of confound that we haven't identified, but basically, a lot of these things more by just digging, right? Just talking to people, digging and figuring out other patterns. They always tell us, we always tell med students, right? 80% is in history, like just talk to the person, and 20% is testing. And nowadays, the way everything is, it's like you get, most people get like a couple minutes with their doctors, right? Like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So that's the hardest part for people.
This one's from Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Says, my girlfriend was diagnosed with celiac about 8 years ago, confirmed a few years ago by a different doctor. Oh. Is it possible that she is misdiagnosed due to a different allergy? Her problem started out of nowhere when she was 20, and after hearing some of your patients' stories, I wonder if it's possible it could be an animal allergy, as we had just adopted 2 cats around that time, and she never grew up with them in her home.
Could be. I mean, celiac is like true celiac. They confirm with like a biopsy from a scope, and if you truly have that, usually that's earlier in childhood. But
to his question, there are bad doctors out there, and they can make mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, doctors are humans, right? So
well, except for you, you're superhuman.
That's true. Good point.
Phone number is 888-989-9811. We're with Dr. Patel from GraniteBayAllergy.com. Hello, Shannon.
Hi.
Hi.
I just had quick question about my cat. So I grew up with a cat, and I was never allergic to him. But then later in life, when I was 20-something, I got these 3 cats that are all litter mates, and 2 of them will give me hives if I pet them or snuggle them, but the other one doesn't, which is super weird to me. They all have the same mom and dad. I don't know. Do you have any clues about what might be going on with that?
Yeah, the two that react and one that doesn't, that's unusual. But I will say that if there was a gap between when you grew up with the cats and then when you got the cats, that gap is probably why you're not allergic to the new cats, or you are allergic to the new cats, not the old one. We have all these studies where kids who grew up with dogs and cats were fine with their own, and then they go to college, and then they come back, and then they're all allergic to their own. And one of the theories is that, you're getting a small amount of that animal, you're either ingesting it or somehow getting exposed enough that you become immune to your own, but other people's animals, or with a gap, you can become allergic to your own.
And can you identify that narrowly and treat that?
Yeah, you can treat it. Would just be treated like normal cat allergy kind of a thing. Now, I don't know why the third cat you're not allergic to. There could be a mutation in that cat's protein, because there's a few major cat protein. They're called like FeLD1, 2, and then basically we name them these weird names. And so maybe that third cat is a different mutation in that protein.
Matthew says, I've noticed that you have mentioned dust mites and carpet. I'm redoing my house. How important do you think it is to just have hardwood floors? Is carpet really that bad?
In general, if the choice is there, I always say, no carpet.
Yeah.
Hardwood, tile, laminate, any of that stuff is going to be, even if it's not dust mites, even if you have animal dander, that's going to accumulate all that. I mean, I like carpet the way carpet feels too, but you can put a rug down and then remove that or something.
Exactly. Like oh God. When you think you've had the best vacuum that's getting everything up, and then you have that carpet removed, it's disgusting.
It is disgusting. It's an eye-opener.
You'll
really never go back to carpet.
No, never.
Brian says, I'm allergic to dogs. I'm so allergic it triggers my asthma to the point I'm literally sitting with my head between my legs gasping for air. It's not just the dander or the hair. The saliva of a dog will blow up my face until I look like Quasimodo. I love dogs and they love me too much. What can you do for me?
Yeah, suffer.
By the way, I'm allergic to allergy medication like Zyrtec. It gives me hives all over my entire body. Can you help me?
Yeah, that's like very easy. Dog allergy is like super easy to fix. So.
Yeah,
good. What exactly is eczema?
Another term, it's a generic term for like a rash, but atopic dermatitis is what most people refer to when they say eczema.
And it can be chronic. It can keep coming back.
Yeah, it starts usually in childhood, but it can start at any time. And that's just allergy to typically stuff in the air. Also. So
Robert says, my question is, my son has had eczema. It was behind his ear and now is in the back of his head around his cowlick. He plays baseball. I think he has a grass allergy because he only gets runny noses during baseball season. My question is, can allergies increase his eczema?
Well, eczema is allergy. So the way you think of it is like a central part is allergy. An allergy of different organ systems, different names. So allergy of the skin, eczema, or atopic dermatitis. Allergy of the gut is like food allergies, allergy of the lung, asthma, allergy of the nose, allergic rhinitis, and so forth.
Oh, okay. Wow.
This one is from Rochelle. Says, my father and I suffer from eczema. It is mostly on our hands to the point that our skin splits and bleeds.
Ouch. Oh, God, no.
Our skin has gotten better since I started making my own soap. However, now that spring is here, we have been gardening more. And our hands can be doing really well, but after gardening, it is dry and irritated. It got me thinking, could we be allergic to the soil? My dad has even started gluing his skin back together due to the pain associated with the split.
Of course.
That's
Such a dude move.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. That is what I would do.
Yeah. No, but yeah, it is. Eczema is triggered by just kind of like what you were saying, Rob. You feel it, right? You can have the basic eczema, then allergens are going to trigger it. It's opening up your skin. You lose water, and then that makes it drier, and then allergens come in, cause more inflammation. We call that the scratch cycle. Wet wraps work really well for hands. If you Google that, you might find out what it is.
Does being dehydrated amplify a lot of the allergies, considering with rashes in specific?
Not like eczema, but actually, since we're talking about that, eczema is going to be worse if you're dehydrated and drier. But regular allergies, no.
We always get the same basic numbers of questions about nut allergies, peanut allergies.
Yeah.
Can they be treated?
Yeah. I mean, depending if they're oral allergy syndrome, so peanuts, grasses, tree nuts, and tree pollen, they cross-react. But if it's a true food allergy, it's avoidance right now. There is like a peanut desensitization, that's out there called Palforzia, which is primarily right now just for kids, but it can help tolerate it.
When you're treating eczema, because you can treat eczema,
Yeah.
because it is an allergy. Is it the same thing? You do it with shots?
Yeah. Because we get a lot of referrals from dermatologists for that, for atopic dermatitis.
So back to my point about there are some bad doctors or bad humans even. Sandy says, can you really cure eczema with allergy shots? My allergist said there is no cure and I can only continue to use creams and take meds.
Well, there is no cure for anything, right? But you can control it a lot more. So right now, let's say you're putting tons of topical steroids on and this and that. Once you get rid of the allergies, you're knocking out like the gas on the fire, right? So when that happens, then just moisturizing may be enough, so you don't need to keep putting on so much stuff, because it is an indication for atopic dermatitis.
Hello there, Kayla.
Hi, yes, I have a question. So my son, there are certain foods that he eats. He's almost 2 years old. There's certain foods that he eats where he will start vomiting, and he will vomit all day to the point where he actually starts vomiting up blood. And we've had to take him to the hospital several times, but the doctors have kind of shrugged it off as, oh, well, there's no point in testing for allergies, right now at this point. So I'm just curious on if that's an actual thing where at this age there is no point, because, I mean, to me, it's pretty severe.
No, so this could be something we call FPIES, that's FPIES, and that's food protein-induced enterocolitis. Most kids do outgrow that by 3. Dairy is one of the major ones. But if you go, there's actually a website called, I think it's fpies.org. I don't know. Google FPIES, like F and then the pies. There's a lot of good information. And yeah, that can be a life-threatening condition, and it does actually start 4 hours typically after consumption of the foods. And,
It's a life-threatening condition that they'll grow out of?
No, yeah, it is, because
God.
No. It's a life-threatening condition, and then they will usually grow out of it, but it becomes life-threatening because of the vomiting, and a lot of kids also develop bloody diarrhea. So they get dehydrated, and that's what ends up being pretty bad. So look that up, and then there's you can test for that.
I'm so glad you're here, because why couldn't they have given her that information?
It's
like,
rare.
No one. I know, but it's like I'm glad you're educated in all of this, because this is the level of care, honestly. And then the girl before, I'm snickering not at her, but the situation where her allergist's like, forget it, But yet you have things to say about it. So this goes to show good doctors, bad doctors, level of care you're getting, and if someone's not spending enough time with you.
This is why people love when you're on. And when we tell people you're coming on, we get the emails and people listen and they call because you soothe so many people. Hello there, Christy. Good morning.
Good morning. So I was a bartender, and I developed like this eczema on my hands. And every time I go to the doctor, they'd give me a new cream, and then we called it in the industry bar rot.
Oh, God.
I've been out of the industry for 2 years now, and I still get it. I put clobetasol on it. It never really goes away. Is this kind of an eczema that is triggered by foods, or have you heard of it?
Yes.
And it's just like they're itchy blisters on my hand.
Oh, poor thing.
No, so it depends. This could be a contact dermatitis, which happens on hands. There could be an irritant dermatitis. The one you had when, if you're at the bar, you're getting a lot of liquids on it. It's similar to like the Vietnam soldiers with the feet and the boots thing. So that at the time, but it should not continue after 3 months of leaving the bar scene. So there has to be further investigation about what's going on. But that's definitely like treatable to take care of that.
We have Dawn's husband, Gary, with us. Hey, Gary.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Hi,
Good morning.
babe.
Apologize for my voice here. I just wanted to call out that when I first started seeing Dr. Patel about a year ago, I actually had what I didn't know was eczema at the time. My body would just start itching, and I would start scratching until I would bleed and have scabs. And Dawn can probably speak to the greatness that causes around the house. But I have actually no scabs now on my hands. I hardly ever have a serious itch to where I feel like I need to scratch forever. And so I can definitely say that from an eczema perspective, the shots have been helping control it for me.
Wow, Dr. Patel making people scab free. That's good.
I wanted to share that with HIPAA. I didn't know if Gary wanted that out there, so I'm glad he called, because that was another thing that I noticed with him as well. Because it was so bad before, and that such a huge difference. Everything he just said, just within a year.
Thank you, Gary. Plus, my skin crawls when I'm around your wife too. So we also one more. We got this email from Arizellis. Says, I've been going to Granite Bay Allergy since November, and I can say this is the first allergy season I'm normal. I'm not sneezing repeatedly, crying. My eyes aren't burning. I actually didn't even think about allergy season until I saw friends posting about it on Facebook. I'm in the monthly maintenance phase now, getting treatment for my 10 allergens, including dust, roaches, mold, trees, covering both seasonal and year-round allergies. And I have Dr. Patel's practice to thank for normalcy. He's also a Niner fan, so there's that extra plus.
Aww. You better be a Niner fan. I will say, if you're not, then you get poor care.
Well, you get
poor care.
And if you're a Rams fan, it's really bad.
Yeah, actually, that is just like actually anti-care. Like I went in feeling fine, now I feel really sick. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, maybe you should be a Niner fan.
I know, maybe that's a problem. Diagnosis, wrong team.
Thank you for being here. We love having you on. It's Dr. Patel from GraniteBayAllergy.com. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.